Well, if you're a Nebraska fan, you're either on one side of the fence or the other when it comes to preseason rankings. You either think Nebraska needs to earn it and think the preseason polls are just kind of nonsense. And then on the other hand, the people that want to see Nebraska ranked because they think it benefits us and gives us a better bit of a look coming to the preseason. And it's also just, interesting to have Nebraska ranked. It's interesting because again, it wasn't earned, so it's not really the greatest feeling. But there's some people who may feel that way. Now, when it comes to these rankings and these polls, personally, I feel preseason rankings overall are just kind of something to talk about, something to really give us some preseason banter, if you will, and just something we like to run with. It's just kind of one of those traditional things that I don't think anybody's calling for it to go away, but it is a point of discussion. Now, I bring that up because there are a couple benefits that could be had from the preseason top 25. If you're in it, you start at a much higher ranking. If you're within the realm of receiving votes, you receive a much higher ranking throughout the season, of course, than if you start 70th in the rankings, right? So there is a benefit in a way with how you start out, but when it comes to the college football playoff rankings and stuff like that, a lot of that goes out the window. So you're either on one side of the fence or the other. Let me know in the comments whether you think these are kind of nonsense or whatever. And we've heard from Rule and the staff that they want to earn the ranking as well. But it still makes it interesting that some of these rankings came out the way they did because it gives us an idea of what the national media thinks of this year's Nebraska Cornhuskers team. Now, I'm going to go into a couple of polls here in a second, but first things first, if you're new here, please consider subscribing to the channel. Click the bell notification to be alerted with all of the latest and greatest in Husker content, as well as I'm planning some hangouts on the channel. I'm also going to be starting some memberships and have some bonus perks for y'all there. So stay tuned. Again, a lot of stuff in the works, but it's going to be rolling out here in the next few weeks. So and if you don't mind, drop a like, leave a comment, let me know what you think. And yeah, let's go ahead and just dive right into these rankings. All right. So the first thing I want to touch on is this 2024 preseason AP poll, right? And you'll see here on the left that you have the voters along with their affiliation, which team they're affiliated with, which, what's their kind of media company that they work for and or their excess Twitter handle. And then we'll have their rankings out here, right? And so, coming out with the poll, the top 25 is what it was, right? A lot of it expected, some of it not. But let's just go ahead and dive into what we came here for, which is where is Nebraska ranked in these? So let's go ahead and come on down here. And we're going to start with Kirk Kinney from the San Diego Union Tribune, San Diego State reporter. And we come over to the right here, and you'll see Nebraska right here, ranked at number 22. So Nebraska in the top 25, according to the San Diego State reporter, right there, Kirk Kinney. And we go up a little bit. I want to show this too before I get to the other ranking where Nebraska is. But we go up a little ways too. And, or I'm sorry, was it down here where right here, Colorado ranked 25th, according to Mike Hill. And of course, it's Fox Sports. Colorado even made one appearance at the ranking, though, at 25. Now, here's the one that really was surprising to me. John Wilner, right here, Wilner Hotline, at Wilner Hotline, if you want to go follow him because he was so kind to us. San Jose Mercury News is his affiliation. And John Wilner has Nebraska ranked at number 14, right behind Penn State. Okay, so a couple of appearances. Those are the only two that I can find on this. And I believe Nebraska came out receiving, I think it was 16 votes or something like that throughout this poll. So again, those are the only two parts where they appear on this poll. However, it is very, very interesting that even a couple of writers from different teams, news outlets, and different covering different teams think so highly of Nebraska. And, I think that is echoed by a lot of the national media. I think the national media has a bit of a higher regard for Nebraska this season than some of our fan base. Naturally, we've been scorned in the past. But again, take these for what you will, but this does give an indication that if Nebraska is receiving votes, then it would take Nebraska much long or less, far less time to be able to climb up in the rankings and get into the rankings, which is only going to benefit them down the road. Again, like I said before, the college football playoff is a whole different animal. However, um, that ranking still would matter coming out of that AP poll and those polls throughout the season. So, it's not a nothing burger altogether. I get we kind of dismiss these, but that is one of the keys to these rankings. Now, I have a second ranking where Nebraska that came out today, where Nebraska made an appearance in it, and I will pull that up. It's going to be RJ Young's preseason. I think it was top 139 of all the teams. So let me go ahead and let's get into that. All right, now we have RJ Young's Ultimate 134 college football rankings. RJ Young has a YouTube channel, works for Fox College Football now. So let's dive into a little bit of his rankings and see where the fellow Big Ten schools are as well, maybe some of our opponents. So Ohio State comes in at 1, Oregon's at 4, Michigan is at 8. Let's scroll down a little bit. Penn State at 14. Come down here, USC at 17. And then we have Iowa at 24, Wisconsin at 27, and then Nebraska here at 31, right? So you got to think there's a few Big Ten teams ahead of them, but RJ Young has Nebraska squarely in his top 35. Now let's continue going down and just see kind of what we have from the rest of the conference. Rutgers here at 36, getting some love there. Colorado comes in at 41. I believe RJ Young is one of those Colorado apologists, but I just from listening to him a few times. But keep scrolling here. I might miss somebody, but Minnesota at 72. A lot of Minnesota fans had an issue with this. Also, not sure where the disdain from Minnesota fans towards Nebraska is coming from, but for some reason they are very much against us on basically everything. So I've noticed that over the last recent weeks. Northwestern comes in at 75. You got Indiana there at 97. Move over here. 82 is Michigan State, 83 Washington, 87 Illinois, Purdue at 88, and Indiana at 97. And I believe Indiana would be the last team probably on these rankings. Yes, because I had Indiana as my last team in my preseason rankings, Big Ten rankings as well. So, yeah, so coming in at 31 on RJ Young's rankings, and then twice in the AP poll, one at 22, one at 14. So take that for what you will. Again, the polls are a microcosm of the season. It doesn't matter until we get on the field and we start playing the games. However, in the grand scheme of things, these voters putting Nebraska within that realm of possibility and bumping them up a little bit in the overall rankings will help Nebraska as we get into the season to be a little bit higher ranked if they are able to continue winning. Again, winning is going to be the main thing. So if Nebraska climbs up in the polls after a couple of good performances in weeks 1, 2, or weeks 1 through 3, weeks 1 through 4, however long it may be, I think we'll feel comfortable and confident with that. So I kind of like that. Nebraska's on the outside looking in, but not too far on the outside. Again, probably a lot of fans thinks we need to be much lower, but again, a lot of things go into this factor. It's a lot of subjectiveness, which that's all you can take from the preseason. So as we get into the season, we'll see these kind of start to level out and see what the results end up being, because we know how much these change over the course of the season. So yeah, I just kind of wanted to touch on those polls today. I just thought it was very, very interesting that Nebraska ended up in as high as 14 in one of them, 22nd in another. I wasn't expecting Nebraska to appear on there. So that was very interesting. And coming in at 31 on RJ Young's list as well. It's just the national conversation around Nebraska. And I know it's been good in the past, but it seems like a lot more people are feeling different overall about the internal workings of the program, just like we are. The national media is starting to hear and feel a lot of the things that we are. They hear Matt Rule's interviews, they hear Matt Rule speak, they talk to Matt Rule, and he's very, very well respected and well regarded in the entirety of the college football world. So yeah, I just wanted to kind of show those rankings there. I won't spend too much more of your time here, but I will see you in the next video. Peace.